Hey there. Welcome back to Tales for Talking. Today we're diving into something super exciting: how to level up your language skills through creative writing. I've always found it fascinating how writing can be such a powerful tool for language learning. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's chat about this. You know what's really cool about creative writing? It's like having a playground for your language skills. When you write stories, you're not just putting words on paper, you're actually building your own little world in a new language. Pretty awesome, right? Let me break that down in simpler terms. Writing stories helps you learn a language better. When you write, you can use the language in your own way, and that makes learning more fun. New expressions I use there. Level up means to improve or advance, and diving into means to start discussing something with enthusiasm. So, what do you think makes creative writing such a powerful tool for language learning? Go ahead and pause the video to think about your answer. All right, here's what I think. Creative writing is powerful because it lets you experiment with the language without any pressure. It's like having your own language laboratory. Now, here's something really interesting. When you write creatively, your brain actually processes language differently than when you're doing traditional exercises. It's like the difference between following a recipe and experimenting in the kitchen. When you're creating a story, you're not just memorizing rules, you're actually playing with the language, testing what works, and learning from your mistakes in a really natural way. In simple terms, your brain learns better when you're being creative. It's different from just studying grammar rules. New expressions. Experimenting in the kitchen means trying new things while cooking, and we use it here as a metaphor for trying new things with language. What do you think happens in your brain when you write creatively versus when you're doing grammar exercises? Take a moment to pause and think about it. Here's my take. When you're writing creatively, you're actively engaging multiple areas of your brain, imagination, memory, language skills all at once. It's like having a full brain workout. Let's talk about something really cool: the power of storytelling and language learning. When you create characters and put them in different situations, you're actually practicing how to express emotions, describe scenarios, and even use different tenses naturally. It's like being a movie director, but instead of using a camera, you're using words in your new language. Breaking that down. When you write stories, you practice many different ways of using the language. You learn how to describe feelings, places, and actions. New expressions take, and here's my take, means opinion or perspective. How would you use storytelling to practice different verb tenses? Pause and think about it. One way could be creating a story about a time traveler. You could use past tense for their memories, present tense for their current adventures, and future tense for their plans. Pretty clever, huh? Here's another really cool aspect of creative writing. It helps you develop your own voice in the new language. You know how everyone has their own unique way of speaking? Well, through creative writing, you can discover your personal style in English. It's like finding your own special flavor in this language soup. Let me simplify that. When you write stories, you learn to express yourself in your own special way in English. New expressions. Language soup is a playful way I made up to describe the mix of different ways people use a language. What kind of stories would you like to write to practice your English? Take a moment to think about it. I think starting with something from your own life could be great. Maybe a funny thing that happened to you yesterday, or a dream you had. Now, here's something that might surprise you. Making mistakes while writing creatively is actually super valuable. Each time you write something that's not quite right, you're actually learning. It's like when you're cooking and you add too much salt next time you'll know better. The best part is that in creative writing, there's no such thing as a wrong story, just opportunities to improve your language skills. Simply put, making mistakes helps you learn. Don't be afraid to make them when you write. New expressions. We often use not quite right instead of wrong to be more polite or less negative. How do you feel about making mistakes when writing in English? Pause the video and think about your answer. Here's what I think. Mistakes are like stepping stones. Each one helps you get closer to fluency. Let's talk about a really practical strategy, keeping a daily writing journal in English. It doesn't have to be long or complicated. You could start with just describing what you had for breakfast or what you're planning to do today. The magic happens when you do this regularly, you'll start thinking in English without even realizing it. Breaking it down, writing a little bit every day in English helps you learn faster. You can write about simple things from your daily life. New expressions. The magic happens means that's when good results start to appear. What would you write about in your first journal entry? Take a moment to think about it. I might write about how I'm sitting here recording this podcast with my cup of coffee getting cold because I'm so excited about sharing these ideas with you. Here's a fun trick. Try writing dialogues between imaginary characters. This is fantastic because it helps you practice both formal and informal English. You could write a conversation between a teenager and their teacher, or between two friends at a coffee shop. It's like being a playwright and language learner at the same time. In simple terms, writing conversations helps you learn different ways of speaking English, both formal and casual. New expressions. A playwright is someone who writes plays for the theater. What kind of dialogue would you like to write? Pause and think about it. Maybe you could write a funny conversation between a cat and a dog, discussing why they can't get along. You know what's really powerful about creative writing? It's that you can combine it with other interests. Let's say you're into sci-fi, you could write short stories about aliens learning Earth customs. Or if you love cooking, write detailed recipes with funny instructions. It's like hitting two birds with one stone. You're enjoying your hobbies while improving your English. To make that simpler, you can write about things you love, and this makes learning English more fun. New expressions. Hitting two birds with one stone means achieving two goals with one action. What hobby would you like to write about in English? Take a moment to think about it. I'd probably write about my attempts at gardening, including that time I accidentally grew way too many tomatoes and had to make sauce for the whole neighborhood. Here's another cool technique. Try writing from different perspectives. One day you could be a cloud looking down at the city. The next day you could be a coffee mug describing its owner's morning routine. This stretches both your imagination and your vocabulary in amazing ways. Simply put, writing stories from unusual points of view helps you learn new words and think differently in English. New expressions stretches here means challenges or expands. Which unusual perspective would you choose to write from? Pause the video to consider your answer. I think it would be fun to write from the perspective of a subway train, describing all the interesting passengers it sees every day. Let's talk about something that's often overlooked: the power of rewriting. Try taking a story you know well, maybe a fairy tale, and rewrite it with a modern twist. Imagine Little Red Riding Hood with smartphones and food delivery apps. This is great because you already know the basic story, so you can focus on being creative with the language. Breaking that down, taking an old story and making it modern helps you practice using English creatively. New expressions. A modern twist means a contemporary or updated version of something traditional. Which classic story would you like to modernize? Take a minute to think about it. I'd love to rewrite Cinderella where she's a software developer and loses her wireless earbud at a tech conference. Remember, creative writing isn't just about telling stories, it's about building confidence in your language skills. Every time you write something, you're creating a little piece of evidence that shows you can express yourself in English. It's like leaving footprints on your path to fluency. In simple terms, each time you write something, you prove to yourself that you're getting better at English. New expressions, leaving footprints. Here is a metaphor for making progress that you can look back on. How does it feel when you successfully write something in English? Pause and reflect on this. For me, it feels like solving a puzzle. There's this wonderful sense of achievement when everything clicks into place. Here's something really exciting that I've been saving for last: how to use AI as your personal writing coach. You know, technology has given us some amazing tools for language learning. AI language models can be incredibly helpful for getting feedback on your creative writing. It's like having a friendly writing buddy available 24/7. Let me simplify that. AI programs can help check your writing and give you suggestions to make it better. New Expressions Writing Buddy is a friendly way to say someone who helps you with your writing. How do you think AI could help with your creative writing? Take a moment to think about it. Here's what's cool: you can use AI to check your grammar, suggest alternative phrases, and even help you make your stories more engaging. But remember, AI is just a tool. The creativity and ideas still come from you. You could try writing a first draft of your story, then use AI to help polish it. The AI can point out things like awkward phrases or suggest more natural ways to express your ideas. Think of it as having a knowledgeable friend who's always ready to give you constructive feedback. Simply put, write your story first, then use AI to help make it better. New expressions. To polish something means to improve or refine it. What kind of feedback would you like to get from an AI writing assistant? Pause and think about it. I'd use it to check if my dialogues sound natural and to get suggestions for more interesting vocabulary. Well, friends, we're reaching the end of today's episode, and wow, what a journey it's been. I really hope these ideas about creative writing have inspired you to start your own writing adventure in English. Remember, every writer started somewhere, and every word you write is a step forward in your language learning journey. If you found this episode helpful, you know what to do. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share it with your friends who are also on their English learning journey. Your support helps this channel grow and allows us to keep creating content that helps learners like you. And hey, I'd love to hear about your creative writing experiences. Drop a comment below sharing what kind of stories you're planning to write, or maybe share a sentence or two from something you've already written. This is your friend from Tales for Talking, reminding you that learning a language is an adventure, and creative writing is one of the most exciting paths you can take. Until next time, keep writing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep having fun with English. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next episode. Take care and happy writing.